Hey, what's up, guys? Do you guys recognize this? I actually do, even though this was about, 12 years, 10 years before I was born. This is a scan of the April 1974 issue of the APPA Journal. So long ago and far away, maybe not that far away, I had a collection of APPA journals going all the way back to, I think 1968 was the oldest one that I had. I had a whole bunch of these stacked together. Mostly they were won off of other old eBay bids and things like that. I've since divested myself of all that paper. As nice as it is to have the thing, I realized eventually that it was the writing in it that I treasured most, more than just the actual paper product itself. Paper product is just sort of paper, but it's the writing that made it feel so alive. It's the writing that made me so interested in this and want to be a bigger and better part of the community and all of that. So I traded it in and I got the $100, I think it is, a complete APPA Journal collection off of eBay. And that's where this comes from right here. And it's pretty nice, right? You can go through and you can look through old issues of the APPA Journal and see what people were talking about, right? Well, there's a reason why we're looking at this one in particular, and it's not because we're looking at the 5-year roster analysis and players by tenure, number of years and stuff like that. It's not because we're reading about Stability Meaning Quality by Aaron Shomo. There's a real name from the past. It's not because I wanted to take a look at this 33 1/3 RPM record from the APPA convention in 1973. I'm not sure where you are, Francis Rose, but if you are on here somewhere, I know you used to have a copy of this. I've been looking for an MP3 copy of this recording for a long time. If anybody has one, let me know down below. No, that's not the reason why we're looking into this. It's not so we can read Dave Hull, not so we can read what Fritz Light said about trying to help the company out. It's not for the letters, not for Inside of APPA, not for whatever that is. No, it's for the Solitaire section by Conrad Horn, right? So those of you who are old-timers, who are older than me, and I hate to say this, but probably older than my dad, will know what I'm talking about, right? The old APPA Journal Solitaire section, back before APPA alone was a thing. This is kind of where it starts, right? The APPA Journal was in the beginning kind of a combination of a mail league publication with a little bit of replay information, and eventually it sort of divided into two camps. Over time, the replayers ended up sort of taking over, and in the era of Camelot, which is the old Howard Alshkog days, it was mostly replayer focused. In fact, a lot of people who were Mail League type guys complained because they weren't publishing Mail League stuff. We'll get into all that history a little bit later, though. I know I have to be careful because there are certain former AJ publishers who may or may not spend time watching my videos and reading the things on my blog. So, tighten the tie a little bit there. Conrad Horn here talks a little bit about this. All of you Mail League freaks who derive neurotic enjoyment out of twisting reality beyond recognition by trading 13 players and a replica of City Hall for Dick Allen, or by fielding half-breed teams with Don Mincher and Ty Cobb in the same lineup, or by shamelessly naming teams things like Jackson's Hold Yankees, might as well proceed to the next page, because this column is not for you, unless you are willing to change your egocentric, childish ways. I really miss you, Conrad. I'm not sure whatever happened to him. There was a discussion on Twitter about a year and a half ago. I don't think we ever figured out what happened to him in the end. He kind of disappeared in the mid-'70s. This column is aimed at those serious students of the great game of baseball who pursue the one and only facet of APPA baseball that satisfies the truly mature mind, solo season replays. Basic assumption underlying this section over the next few months will be that a lot of you harbor a secret desire to play an entire season, but have never taken the plunge because you need either advice, inspiration, or somebody to share your experience. That sounds familiar. If a reader response to this column is satisfactory, and let us all know what you think, perhaps we can provide all three of the above. Since Bod Schmierer did such an excellent job in the December APPA Journal summarizing the major pleasures and pitfalls in a solo replay, we can proceed at a more leisurely pace and go into more details, more pros and cons, and more reader opinions. And then he gives a list of different things to look for. Tips, variations on stock replays, names and addresses of readers. We won't do that here. These were different times. Results of replays we like, and then tips on keeping your replay fair and objective by applying some easy-to-use rules and the use of players, scheduling, and platooning, etc. Remember, this is back in the days when you couldn't just open up your little phone and look at retro sheet and be like, oh, that's what the lineup was on that day, we'll use that lineup, and oh, this is what the transactions look like, we'll use that. Now, back in 74, I mean, you had to be really hardcore. If you were going to the library and doing in-depth research on this, you were hardcore, right? This is for the hardcore APPA gamer. This is for the one who wants better quality replays. I'd argue this is pretty important, right? Because this is where we see replaying going from the old Strat-O-Matic viewpoint of, oh, well, I'm going to look at today's box score and use those players, and that's going to be what this game is going to look like, to something more along the lines of what we do here, which is trying to replay a season as the season originally happened and see if things happen a little bit different the second time around. But now here's the interesting part. A season replay can take anywhere from 200 to 600 hours per league to play, depending on the number of teams and the complexity of your statistics. Games take 15 to 20 minutes plus another 5 to 10 minutes for recording stats, right? Is that the same today? I don't think so, right? My games usually for Diamond Mine will take, if I record them, maybe 25, 30 minutes. NPIII, usually about 15 to 20, but both of those can go on. I mean, if we have an extra inning game and something crazy happens, it will take longer. If we're playing off camera, it's going to be shorter, so I can do a Diamond Mine game, and if I'm lucky, under 20, maybe 15. Again, it depends on how much I'm paying attention. If it's off camera, it's probably teams that are, not really in contention, and so I'm like, okay, whatever. Maybe we'll let a couple of things slide. NPIII, I could probably do in less than 10. However, it depends again on what happens, right? If it's a close game and I've got to do some thinking and stuff, it's going to take a little bit longer, right? Plus another 5 to 10 minutes for recording stats. He says, well, we know we don't have to worry about that, right? I mean, again, like I said, this is the hardcore days when you would have tons and tons of reams of paper and you'd be doing all sorts of math. You didn't have your graphing calculator, right? Maybe you had an abacus, right? As Not Gaetti always says, get your head out of your abacus. I mean, there's a lot of math that was involved doing that. Like I said, it's kind of hardcore. An 8-team league involving 616 games, taking half an hour as a pessimistic figure for each game, including record keeping. By the way, it's not pessimistic, it's kind of optimistic, but whatever. And another 50 hours for periodic summaries and setup work. So it's not unreasonable to plan on playing an 8-team league in 1 year, allotting only an hour a day to your hobby. Yeah, what do you think about that? I mean, look at my project, right? We've been doing these for about, it's been over a year now. I'm not even halfway through, right? I don't know. What do you think? How long does it take? How long should it take? How long should you allocate for this, right? Do I allocate only an hour a day to playing this replay? These replays, in theory, yeah. In reality, it's probably a little bit more. YouTube is a little bit more involved. And honestly, for me, the thing that takes the most time is the blog and figuring out things to write and writing up, summaries of things, trying to make something that's interesting. That actually takes quite a bit of time. If I were just playing, maybe I could do it an hour a day, but even then, it's kind of pushing it, right? A 12-team league involves 972 games, so that's 436 hours, plus another 84 hours for special summaries and setup work, or a total of 10 hours per week to complete 1 league in 1 year, right? Maybe you could do it, right? Again, if you were doing a 24-team league, so you'd be looking at maybe 2 years if you were doing 10 hours a week. 10 hours a week is quite a time commitment, right? I don't know. I kind of hesitate to say that. Anyway, that's kind of what I'm interested in, right? What do you think? How long does it take you? How long does it take you to finish up a replay? How long does it take you to really start a replay and to really get stuff going, right? That's the big question. How much time do you invest into this, right? How much time do you spend working on this and looking at it and thinking about it, right? Now, thinking about it, if you're like me, you think about it all the time, right? But there's a difference between thinking about the replay and actually doing something with it, right? How much time do you spend really working on it and really doing it, right? And about how long does it really take you to finish? Now, the other question is, do you really want to go fast, right? Or do you want to go slow? I'm one who kind of likes to savor it a little bit. I'd like to go a little bit slower and have a good time and think about what's happening instead of just playing the game and writing that off as another chore and checking the box, right? I don't know. Maybe you're a little bit different. Maybe you really want to sort of speed through certain games and other games you want to take a little bit longer on. I don't know. There's no right or wrong answer here. I'm just curious to know what you think. Let me know down below. Talk to you later. Bye.